Welcome, everyone. Happy spring. I'm Amy Sam. I am the Health Education Project Specialist at the Maxwell and Eleanor Blum Patient Family Learning Center at Mass General. Today's program is part of our Blum Center Well-Being Series. Before we get started, just want to go a few items with you all. Please note that today's session is being recorded for educational purposes. If you're interested in viewing the recording, it'll be made available on the Blum Center website at massgeneral.org/Blum-Center. Please note that you are in listen-only mode. Everyone has muted so we can hear our guest speaker today. If you have any questions, thoughts you'd like to share, feel free to do so in the chat feature. We'll have time for them throughout the session. Only Blum Center staff and our guest speaker will see your questions and thoughts. Please do not share any personal medical information or questions in the chat. If you have a personal medical question, please ask your doctor. Lastly, at the end of today's session, you'll be directed to a brief survey, which we'd like to ask you to help us complete. Your feedback is important to us as we plan future programs. So joining us today, we have Carmen Alvarez. Carmen is an organizational culture strategist, mindfulness teacher, and researcher. She is also a Reiki master, well-being leader, published author, and public speaker. Carmen is a certified positivity and relaxation response training facilitator by the Benson Henry Institute for Mind, Body, and Medicine. She is also a certified workforce mindfulness facilitator by Mindful Leader and certified Sky Wellness coach by the International Association for Human Values. Carmen is a certified Reiki master and has served as a Reiki therapist at Brigham Women's Hospital and Mass General Hospital in Boston since 2018. She is co-author of the book, The Happiness of Coaching, released in March 2024. In her book chapter, Happiness by Choice, Carmen shares her healing journey after loss and provides practical insights for managing grief and ultimately finding joy again. Carmen serves as Director of Physician and Patient Engagement at Mass General Brigham International Patient Services with attention to Latin American markets, and she is a member of the Workforce Well-Being Collaborative Board at Mass General Hospital. She's here today to lead a session on Spring into Mindfulness, Cultivating Joy and Welcoming New Beginnings. So please join me in welcoming Carmen.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy, so much for that introduction. It's very kind of you, and I'm so pleased to be here with all of you today. I'm especially happy that we have a sunny day to speak about spring, which is great. It's finally here. Boston, we tend to have late springs, I guess, if you will. Can you see my slides okay, Amy? Great, wonderful. So this is a completely all about spring presentation today. I could not be happier. And I thought of doing this in the fall when we put the well-being series together, because as you know, we see each other every month, more or less. We discuss different topics, all having to do with well-being and mindfulness. And so, of course, we thought for May, what better to do than to discuss about spring? And so that's the point of today. And what I wanted to discuss is cultivating joy and welcoming new beginnings. When you think about spring, you think it's a spring of blossoming all around us. I don't know if probably taking walks, you don't have to go far to see flowers blooming and the trees. The green of the trees is just so beautiful this time of year. It is definitely my favorite time of year, for sure, in Boston. And so we see this blossoming all around us. And I want us to think about the fact that the same is happening also within us. Think about the winter time. It is very long and it's a different season of the year, and also perhaps even a different season of life for many of us, right? So we say we put an end to a year and begin a new one in January, but really we're still in the middle of winter. So it's very different, the feel of the season and what we are the frame of mind is very different than when we walk into spring. Most of us think about new beginnings, hopefully. And with that can come cultivating joy, but sometimes also maybe some stress about the new beginnings or the ending, the changes, right, that we all experience throughout. And certainly we've been through a lot of changes lately, this year specifically. So the spring is an offering and it's an invitation. It's a time to think about it as a renewal, just as the plants and the animals. Speaking of animals, I absolutely love seeing all the little new babies that you see out in nature that are being born in this time, or it's just beautiful, right? So similar, it's an opportunity with us as well to awaken, to energize ourselves now that we have this new opportunity, this invitation. So I really hope that we're all seeing it in this way. So I'm curious before we begin, what would you like to plant or say cultivate in this spring? We're going to go ahead and do an exercise in which you can let us know and we can see what you're putting in. So I'm going to allow Amy to share that so that we can participate. And by the way, your participation is so welcomed and needed in this because I want this to be interactive so that we co-create this experience. So thank you, Amy. So this is a word cloud exercise. It's very fun. What you do is perhaps scan this if you have a phone. You can scan the barcode and it will open up the question in which you put in your answer. So what would you like to plant in your life this spring? That's the first question. Oh my goodness. Peas. That is, I think that is most of us want more of that, not just in our own lives, but definitely around us, right? Very present right now. So thank you so much for that offering. I'm going to give it a minute to see if anyone else has a response, anything they want to do. You may also put it in the chat if it's easier for you. Oh, I'm seeing joy and love and laughter. I absolutely love that. Elaine says kindness as well. Calm, peace, joy, love, laughter, and kindness. That is absolutely beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this. I love seeing this. And I am with you. So as you can see, it's I think that is a combination of things we want to cultivate inside of us, but also we want to see that in our world, right? Around us. So I love seeing this. Thank you, Amy, for sharing that. Yes, we're going to go back to the slideshow now so that we can go back to where we were. Sorry. This gets complicated sometimes. Okay, hopefully we're back. Can you all see the slideshow where we were? Okay. So moving on to, with that in mind, here's what I want to start discussing. Thank you so much for just sharing this, the words that you shared. So what can we learn from spring? Everything around us. So let's go through this together, right? Even after dark times, it is possible to thrive. That is very important. We are going through perhaps a difficult year for some. Again, with the changes of the seasons, changes in our lives, perhaps something either personal or in our environment. But spring shows us that after a long winter, what happens? There's blooming every single time, right? So we can look forward to that. Also, we can plant seeds. We plant the seeds of what we want to see grow. And we just did that earlier when we said peace, joy, love, kindness, right? Laughter. Those are all the seeds we want to plant. The rain doesn't last forever. Spring will come. This reframing here as well is very important, that challenges are required for growth. We grow through challenges as well. Even positive changes also, I know that can be scary, but challenges are required for growth. And also growing takes time and patience. All of these framing is important as we go into this new season of our lives and around us. In mindfulness, the good thing is that mindfulness can support and help us as we go through these changes. Let's pause and talk about stress a little bit. We also talk about stress earlier in the series, as you know, pretty much every time. It is important to establish what stress may mean, and stress can be described as that vacillation of your mind between the past and the future. If you're thinking about the past, you're worried or you feel regrets, right? There's that heaviness sometimes of something that happened in the past. Or you could be thinking about the future, in which case perhaps you're anxious because you're thinking about what you need to do either later today or tomorrow or in the future. Things that have not happened yet. So those two are things that you're not in control over very much. So that creates stress in your mind. The idea with mindfulness and the idea when we talk about navigating stress really is to use the now moment as your anchor, because the only changes you can affect is in the now. Now that we've established a foundation for what stress may mean or what it is, the daily stress and transitions in life can cloud our awareness. What do I mean by that? When we are under stress, our nervous system shifts into survival mode, right? Who has been in survival mode lately? Our nervous system is here to protect us. It happens unconsciously. It is that it's underneath everything that we do. Because it's looking to protect us and keep us safe, is usually scanning the environment for anything that may threaten that. So, let me just see a comment here. Oh, let's see if it's Amy saying welcome, everybody. So the nervous system sometimes may keep us in survival mode based on stress level and also based on past experiences. It happens unconsciously. It's not something that we necessarily do. However, if we've had some impressions in the past that made us feel unsafe, our nervous system automatically then scans your environment, every word, every person, every experience for what it may conceive as unsafe for you. And so that makes it harder, right, to feel joy, to feel clear, and to even think about renewal when your nervous system is in that high state. So with mindfulness, what we do is use it as a tool to reconnect us to the calm, into the now moment. It calms the nervous system so that we can actually embrace the possibility of what could be with a new beginning, with a new season, new projects, etc. So I love mindfulness as well because it is so accessible. We can all do a little mindfulness, and we're going to go into a little bit of that. With new beginnings, I wanted to offer you the opportunity to think about it in a new way. Welcoming changes sometimes can be scary, but reframing new beginnings with mindfulness makes it so accessible and so much easier to navigate. So mindfulness helps us notice resistance with compassion as well. If you're worried or concerned with changes or starting a new project or anything new, mindfulness, and we'll go through different ways to apply mindfulness in your life, will help you see where there might be some hesitance or maybe uncertainty that comes up. It allows you that inner awareness. obviously change isn't something that we need to conquer. It is something that we soften into. And here's one universal law. The one thing that is guaranteed in life is change, right? It isn't a something that happens here and there sometimes. No, everything is constantly changing as it is evident in when you take a walk, you see how nature embraces change in spring. And everything is always changing. So renewal is remembering what is beneath the stress and the noise in your mind. But we can only tap into this when we pause. So that's why we're doing that today. So I'm curious, now that we've discussed this, what is one change you've been resisting maybe that is asking for your attention and that maybe you haven't embraced yet? So let's do a poll to find out. And we can do that right here. How are you feeling today? And how are you feeling about changes going into the spring? So you'll see in your screen, something just popped up. How are you feeling this season? You feeling hopeful? You're feeling curious, renewed? Perhaps you feel tired, overwhelmed, or you're in transition. I think all of us will fall in one of these, or perhaps more combinations. So just give it a go and pick one, and we'll give a few minutes so that everyone can pick theirs. And then we will share to see how the group is feeling. The reason we're doing this is because we're human and every one of us is very different. We are not to assume that everyone feels about this spring the same way. Not everyone feels excited about spring. Perhaps for you, spring means something very different. Perhaps there's something else that you equate or you think about when spring comes. So I'm very curious about that. And I want to be mindful of it. And I want to include all perspectives. So every perspective is valid. Okay, so I think maybe now we can see the responses. Wow, a lot of you feel hopeful, some renewed, but as we can see here, a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed and in transition. See, this makes a lot of sense to me. And this is exactly why I wanted us to pause and see how we were feeling. It makes sense. We are going through a lot of transitions together in our personal lives, in the collective, right? External factors, a lot of changes, a lot of new things. And so, of course, it makes sense that some of us are feeling overwhelmed and in transition. And yet, I'm glad to see that some of us are still holding on also to that hope. So thank you, Amy, for sharing the poll results. So what I'd like for us to do in the rest of the session is to knowing how we are feeling, and it makes sense. The rest of the talk is going to offer you the tools, the very easy, practical ways to welcome mindfulness into your life, all with this idea of using it towards embracing renewal and embracing the next season in your life. Does that make sense? I'm excited to do this with you. And thank you for sharing your thoughts on that and being honest and open. So, mindfulness. What is mindfulness? If you haven't been here before, let's go through this. Those of us who are always here know that we discuss mindfulness a lot because it is so accessible and easy to do. Mindfulness means being present in the moment. You're giving your full attention to what you are doing in the now. It brings you awareness, right? And it allows you to tap into how you are feeling. It gives you a sense of your feelings, your emotions, your body. So we're going to go through each of those. That is mindfulness. In essence, is embracing the here and the now moment. That's easier said than done because I know how the mind works. And when we have a lot of things going on, especially, can be difficult. But mindfulness activates the body's natural healing response. This is so key for you to hear. Your body already knows what to do. It is natural for your body to go into the healing response. Okay, you don't have to do anything else, but it needs one thing from you. It needs your presence. It needs your intention. It needs inner calm. So that's why we practice mindfulness. But that is good news, right? That your body knows what to do and it will automatically go into that. I love that. So this is how mindfulness impacts the brain. It's amazing, scientifically proven benefits of mindfulness. You reduce stress activity, of course. It also lowers your cortisol hormone. It increases your focus and strengthens your connection in the prefrontal cortex as well. Mental well-being, obviously, it reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. By the way, anxiety is when you're worried about the future, and depression is when you're stuck in something that happened in the past. The importance of mindfulness. Did you know I love introducing all this scientific data because I want all of us to appreciate the fact that mindfulness and well-being has been studied for decades and decades, and we do have a lot of science to back all of this up. Studies show that mindfulness can improve emotional regulation and even increase gray matter in the brain regions linked to memory and empathy. So anyone out there with a foggy brain starting to forget things, okay, the good news is that being present and using mindfulness as a tool to do that can increase gray matter in the brain. This is huge for a lot of us, right? Other benefits. Mindfulness helps us balance emotions. We touched on that. You know this when you are under stress. How are your reactions with other people? How are your reactions towards problem solving when you are stressed? Emotions. Balancing emotions is very important, and mindfulness tools can help you with that. Obviously, it can help us calm and consider the feelings of others as well, which is very important for connections and interactions and relationships. It allows us to be more kind to ourselves. This is very, very key. And it's something that in every session that I do, being kind to ourselves isn't something that comes naturally. It's something that we struggle with. So it's worth mentioning. Mindfulness also sparks your being curiosity, and it improves your ability to observe more intently. So more benefits of mindfulness. Mindfulness has a wide-ranging benefits in everything in your life. So just to go deeper into those that I was discussing earlier, emotional. Mindfulness helps you stay calm under pressure, reduces anxiety, improves your overall mood. On the physical plane, mindfulness practices can improve sleep quality. Sleep is a big issue right now for everybody. So mindfulness can help you with sleep quality. Also increases your energy and support your overall health. And socially, mindfulness can help you be more fully present in your relationships, creating better connections with family, friends, and coworkers. So as you can see, there are so many reasons why embracing mindfulness as a habit can be beneficial. But how do we do that? How do we embrace mindfulness and include it in our daily lives and make it a habit? So starting a mindfulness habit can be challenging, but with the right approach, we can make it easier. So here are a few tips. Set aside 5 minutes each day to practice mindfulness. Everybody has 5 minutes. Who has 5 minutes in the morning? Intention makes the difference. You can find 5 minutes to set aside in the morning. Make it part of your routine. Perhaps you can do that in the morning or before bed at night. But making a consistent 5 minutes will actually have a huge impact in your life and in your health, I promise you. And be patient with yourself. Don't worry if your mind wanders. Mindfulness is a journey, is not a destination. The wonderful thing about this practice, and we'll go through them, is that even if it's 5 minutes here and there, as long as you're consistent, you can practice them without judgment. They will be beneficial to you. So here are 4 easy examples of mindfulness that we can embrace this spring as we maybe include this as a new habit into our lives. Mindful breathing. We discussed the benefits of intentional breath. Our breath is so key, and including breath into our lives intentionally has huge benefits. It actually has the ability to detoxify the body. Up to 80% of toxins can actually be filtered through intentional breathing, conscious breathing. Connecting with nature. Perfect time to go out there and embrace this. We're going to talk a lot about that more. Mindful observation, paying attention to what you observe and including all your senses. And gratitude. We talk a lot about this a lot too. Here's some science about the benefits of walking. You can walk your way stronger, happier, and also to rewiring your brain, proven by science. I feel that a lot of us, everything that we put in that first word exercise with love and peace and calm, all of these things honestly can come through with a practice of walking in nature. I have seen it myself. Look at this amazing science that walking grows your brain by 2%. How about your focus? It improves focus by 14%. Often we say, I don't have time to go for a walk. Oh my goodness, you absolutely should take a walk because look what happens. Your ability to concentrate and gain clarity around issues and emotions actually goes up by 14%. It boosts your serotonin, your response, your hormonal response by 50%, making you happier. So just 10 minutes is enough to trigger all of this change, by the way. So if you can take 10 minutes for a quick walk, it reduces anxiety by 20%. It lowers dementia risk by 51%. That is huge, very, very big. So embracing this practice of your daily walks, even if it's 10 minutes out in nature, is huge. So hopefully this is one that you can note as a absolutely must do in as I go into spring. So nature walks. Nature walks are so important because it allows you to utilize all your senses to stay in the present moment. It allows you to observe your world around you, but it's important to use all 5 senses. And what are those? Pay attention and observe what you see, what you hear, what you smell, and what you touch. When you include all your senses in your experience and you do it intentionally, right, and you slow your pace, it actually lowers that stress response, and all of these benefits that we just discussed can kick in. So using all senses when you take a walk, that means not going on a walk and then having your phone. I actually see people out walking, and please tell me you've seen it too, when they're out walking and they have their phones in front of them. So this intentional walking, in order to get all these benefits that we just discussed, is a no phone, just walk, look in nature, and take it all in. So this exercise, just to make it a little bit more tangible and practical, is a grounding technique that we share in mindfulness that is very, very powerful, but also easy to do. Is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. This will immediately calm and connect you. Exploring your senses is also really fun to do with your children. If you have children at home, this is something you can play with them that works really well, and it will give you at least 5 minutes of calm. How do we do this? We say, look around, 5 things you can see. Allow your eye to go and say 5 things you can see around you. Then 4 things you can touch and 3 things you can hear. This is where you bring your ears to the birds and, anything that's around you. Just embracing whatever comes in without judgment. 2 things you can smell, and then 1, something you can taste. So just by taking this time to do that, you can do it on your own as you're walking. Just allow it, intentionally do this or play the game with, someone in your life is so much fun. Of course, we often think about this other very important practice, which is gratitude. And why is gratitude important? If you do nothing else, if you tell me I don't have time to go for a walk, I don't have time to do anything else, gratitude is still something we can all do and embrace at any moment in any second. Why is gratitude important? Obviously, it provides happiness. It improves your health, improves your mental health. It facilitates better sleep. It, strengthens self-control, facilitates your social well-being, and it helps you with every relationship, whether that is at home or in your career. When you take a moment to take a breath and focus on what you are grateful for, your perspective changes and you become a bit more aware about a positive reframing. So reframing becomes really crucial when we are embracing change, embracing renewal. And a lot of us who responded to the survey saying that we're feeling overwhelmed and a little bit more stress in these moments, I think that finding a way to find gratitude in our daily lives is so, so helpful. Because even when you're overwhelmed and you take 1 second or 2 to think about something that you're grateful for, it really changes your perspective. So maybe start thinking about this for your own life. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for fill in the blank. Just do that. Just say 5 things I'm grateful for, and immediately changes not just your brain chemistry, but changes how you feel overall. So reframing is what we're discussing, reframing new beginnings with mindfulness so that you can more openly welcome changes without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling hopelessness, or maybe afraid of changes. And here we're going to talk about joys. Joy, someone said laughter earlier. Laughter and joy is a powerful, powerful tool also to embrace and reframe how you perceive changes and how you perceive new beginnings. So the small joy that you can introduce in your life actually activate the brain's reward system, which is very helpful when you're looking to start a new habit, right? Or a new project or anything new. So what we're looking to do is inject joy into our daily lives as daily seeds for joyful living, as I like to say. So the mindful breath, the gratitude journaling, the nature walks, and the digital boundaries, as I said, leaving the phone behind when you're out in your nature walk. So let's discuss joy. How can you cultivate more joy in your life? Here are some very practical ways. Say thank you, appreciate the little things, take care of your needs, take care of your own needs. Surround yourself with positive people, do something nice for yourself. This is an easy one. Please take this one away. Do something nice for yourself. Walk to the ice cream store, buy yourself a cone, and then go on a nature walk. Go to the spa, do anything you can to be kind to yourself. Create more joyful moments. This will absolutely reframe how you embrace your life, your daily challenges. Also forgiveness, practice forgiveness with others and with yourself as well. Limit complaining and instead reframe to look at what you appreciate in life. So I would love to hear from you in the chat. What is one small joy or ritual that you do that nourishes your well-being? I'd love for you to put it in the chat. What is this one thing that you do? For me, it's definitely the nature walks. And then once a week, or once every other week, I buy myself an ice cream cone. So, so that's a small piece of joy. But what is something that you are doing that brings you joy? I'd love for you to let me know in the chat. Okay, so I see walking and morning fruit shakes. Oh, yes, a fruit shake in the morning. That is so lovely. And I like that because you can something you can do almost every day, maybe on your way to work or something. That's great. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for sharing that. So think about little joys that you can introduce that will make a difference. So going out for a quick walk during lunch breaks, absolutely. Yes, we have the opportunity to walk the courtyard. I mean, for those of us on campus, look how beautiful the Bullfinch courtyard is looking now that it's back to us. It's all complete. It looks absolutely beautiful. So if you don't have time to go very far and you want to take a quick walk during lunch break, as it was shared in here in the chat, the courtyard is looking beautiful. It's so joyful to be there to just sit there. Elaine says, try to have weekly lunch by myself at our favorite restaurant. Elaine, amazing, beautiful, absolutely. Take yourself to lunch. Lovely. Yes, why not? We should all be doing this more. Absolutely. I love that, Elaine. I love that. Protect that time for yourself and also take yourself out to lunch. That is great. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. So let's talk about compassion. And the reason we pause here is because self-compassion is going to be absolutely crucial as you think about renewal and you think about embracing changes. Because change is hard, change is difficult, right? We don't like change, but think about being compassionate with yourself and also embracing kindness. As someone said, kindness we all almost always we think about kindness with others, but really we should start with being kind with ourselves. So self-compassion reduces anxiety and increases your motivation. The other reason why it's good to embrace it. A reminder is that you are blooming every single day in ways that you don't even recognize. So be kind to yourself. Even when things are challenging, you're growing, you're learning, and you're blooming. So be kind to yourself as we go through challenges. No one says that change has to be easy. So be kind to yourself. So here are different ways to practice and cultivate self-compassion that I really hope you bring with you. Speak kindly to yourself. Do you know that studies show that our self-talk is actually quite negative and we do it without realizing it. So please be mindful of how you speak to yourself. Ask yourself, what do you need? What do I need today to feel better? What do I need? Maybe it's just, a cup of tea. Maybe it is going to the spa for a massage. Whatever it is, ask yourself what you need. Perhaps people are not coming, volunteering this, coming up to you to say, what do you need? So do that for yourself. Validate your pain, whether it is physical or emotional. Recognize it is valid for me to feel sad today. It is valid for me to feel the way that I do. And write yourself a self-compassionate letter. How beautiful. If you do journal, if you use journaling, or even if you don't, write yourself a letter saying, it's valid how you feel. I understand you. So these are different ways. And the treat yourself, Elaine has that one down packed with taking herself to lunch. So that's lovely. So I hope that you can embrace different ways to be so kind to yourself. When you do that, it is a lot easier to also be kind to others. It begins with your relationship with yourself. So inviting new beginnings. So the other thing is, it doesn't have to be big things, big leaps. It's the daily choices. It's what we do daily that really, really reframes who we are and our perspective and our awareness. Every single day and also every single moment is an opportunity for new beginnings from moment to moment. Okay, so we're not discussing something very big. It could be small changes and small choices, which is important. You have the choice of how you go about your day and how you look at a challenge. It's that you have the choice to reframe it by focusing on the now moment and just doing something very small that is being kind to yourself and for your well-being. So now I'm curious, what beginning is calling you now that we've discussed? What have you been thinking that could be considered a new beginning? Something that you want to start that is new, that perhaps we could invite ourselves to begin in the spring, now in this new season. You can put it in the chat. Perhaps it's, embracing the daily walk, or perhaps it's something else. I'd love to see. I would love for you to start thinking about now that we've discussed this and reframed it. What is something you've been looking to do and start, and now maybe you feel a little bit more open to embracing and to starting? Okay, so now I'd love to see how we feel about what we want to, what you're ready to plant in your life. We're going to do this exercise again because I love to see how this has changed from the beginning. Okay, embracing, oh my goodness, we have some really big things here. So Kathleen says what she's looking to embrace is planning for retirement. That could be daunting. So great. Okay. I'm glad that you're looking at starting that for yourself, Kathleen. And then I see here breathing. Yes, we talk about it a lot, and I know that it could be daunting as well. But thankfully, we have in this well-being series, we've talked a lot about the breathing techniques that could be helpful. And I would be very, very happy to, walk you through some techniques myself if you contact me. Absolutely. Very, very happy. Slowing down with better breath work, in and out, steady and calm. Elaine, yes, the breath work. And we've talked about that. Just in and out, just intention, just bringing your intention to your breath and the way you're breathing. Just the awareness itself is enough. You don't have to know all the techniques, and you don't have to necessarily do anything specifically. Just being aware of how you're breathing in any given moment is so important. Okay, so you can catch yourself holding your breath sometimes when you're anxious. That's awareness. That's good. That's key. You can use that to say, oh my goodness, I'm holding my breath. I mean, I'm anxious, or I'm breathing super fast. My heart is beating because I am stressed. So take the moment to pause and breathe slowly. Perfect. Beautiful. I think we were going to do a Mentimeter. Should I unshare so that you can share that? Walking breaks, even if it's just a small circle around my chair. Yes, thank you. That is, yeah, no, that's great. Even if it's just walking around where you can, absolutely, absolutely, it matters. And you know what? Even when you can't take a walk or anything, I don't want you to feel bad about any of these things that you don't do. Absolutely. Even if it's taking something next to you, I have some water here. We did a whole series about mindful eating. Absolutely, if you have a cup of tea, your cup of coffee, just take a second to mindfully enjoy it. That's all it takes. Mindfully enjoy it. Bring all your attention to what you can see and what you can smell, right? That is a break. When you cannot get up and walk, do this. Bring your all five senses, as I said. What can I see outside my window? What can I taste? That's also good, okay? If you cannot go for a walk. So now let's do this last exercise together. Now that we have reflected together on renewal and reframed it as an opportunity, as an invitation. I like to see what are you ready to plant in your life now. So if you want to do the scanning, and then we can put in the little words and we can see it flourish up here in the screen. And if it's easier, you can do the chat as well. So I'm glad that so many of you are saying breathing. Super happy to go through the techniques that help. But again, as I said, just bring your attention to your breath. I see journaling, more daily walks, more time to read a book, gratitude, pausing, stillness. Absolutely. Good. This is great. I'm happy. We went from very big things at the very beginning. It was like world peace, right? It was like peace and love, and those are all wonderful. But this exercise was all about reframing what you can do now in your life. The reason we went through this journey is because I want you to know that everything that you want to accomplish outside actually begins internal. It's all about your um, inner peace. That's where it begins. So now with this change, I see we went from love and peace, we went to stillness, pausing, doing gratitude, journaling, reading a book. This is lovely. This is exactly what we wanted to accomplish with today's session. Yes, we do want world peace and love and kindness, but it starts with your relationship with yourself. It starts with your daily habits. It starts with us changing little things and making small changes and making choices on a day-to-day that will change your inner world. That's where it starts. So this is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. That's exactly what I wanted to see in order to remain calm. Yes, thank you so much. Wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see this. So now let's go back to the final slide. See if I could bring that up back here. Again, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so happy to see that you're ready to plant this in your life. These are small changes that will make a big difference. And we went from big, lofty external goals to very practical internal daily habits that you are going to include. So thank you so much for being here and spending this time with us today. Let's connect. You are welcome to email me directly. I'm also on Instagram where I post often about mindfulness, daily happiness and joy and embracing mindfulness. Email me. I am always here for you. Also, happen to want to let you know that I do have a new book that comes out this week. So on Friday, it will be available on Amazon worldwide. And this is a new project in which we actually look at reframing adversity and turn it into an opportunity for transformation. And in this, I share my own personal journey with this, my own story, but then I give you practical ways using journaling prompts where you can take an adversity or a challenge and reframe it so that you see it as an opportunity for your own transformation and your own growth. So it's called The Gift of Pain. And it's out on Friday. So Amy and I will have more to share on this later. But for now, thank you so, so much for being with us today, and happy spring, everybody.
Thank you, Carmen. And for everyone joining us, thank you so much. As I had mentioned, today's session is being recorded. It'll be made available on the Blum Center website at massgeneral.org/Blum-Center. Thank you, everyone. Take care.